Hello, everybody, and welcome to Oh, for Heaven's Sake After Dark. We got some special guests here. How about you guys introduce yourself?
Brad Nordstrom.
Kyle Nordstrom.
Number 32, Brandon Nordstrom.
And Jason Dunn.
We have an interesting After Dark podcast here. We're going to be talking about the Vikings, and it's going to get heated here. We're going to go through some scenarios here and just get your thoughts. Vikings trading up to 3. Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams are off the board. What do you do?
Trade back.
Take J.J. McCarthy.
No,
Over
not
Drake
at 3.
Yeah.
No.
Drake May's dog water.
Okay.
I don't know.
So you're assuming that we've traded up to 3. Is
Yep.
what you're saying?
That's the scenario we're going through, yeah.
What do we give up to get
what
to
are we
3?
giving up?
3 first-round picks.
So the 2 this year and 25s?
Yep.
I say J.J. McCarthy.
I think you got to take Drake May.
If you're going up to 3, go Drake, man.
Drake May.
I'd say.
What are you going to do?
Well, I wouldn't do that, but if they're going to do that, then I'm assuming it's for Drake May. They're not doing that for J.J.
Right.
McCarthy. No.
That's what I think is going to happen.
You don't trade 3 first-round picks for a rich man's Christian Ponder.
That's your comp?
That's my comp.
J.J. McCarthy?
Yep.
Him and CP?
What do you think about the Vikings meeting with Jaden Daniels? Do you think there's some talk about the Commanders taking Drake May at 2, and then now we're scrambling to interview Jaden Daniels?
Well, if you look at the betting odds, it changed this morning. Jaden Daniels is now minus 125. He was minus 225 last night. So there's a chance Drake May goes number 2. However, I don't think that's going to happen. But
I believe you told me a few weeks ago about the betting odds. So I don't think we want to put a lot of stock in the betting odds since they seem to be changing quite frequently.
They change frequently.
Right.
They change daily.
Let's not worry about the betting odds.
Schefter was saying that the Commanders were not too happy about Jaden Daniels going with, interviewing with the Vikings because they thought it was just going to be only the Commanders, and Commanders are taking him anyways or whatever. So why is he going with the Vikings? They were thinking maybe it's Eli Manning situation.
Yeah. There's a lot of empty promises around draft time, so I don't buy any of that steam.
Did anybody see the Ziggy Wilf interview on NFL Network a few weeks back?
No, please tell us.
So they were asking him about his quarterback plan, and basically he just had a big smile on his face and said, "We have a plan," with a big smile on his face. So that makes me think that I wouldn't be surprised if they already have a deal. It's just like a handshake deal.
Who do you think it's with?
New England.
I think so, too.
But at the same time, if it's New England, then why do you got to keep it quiet? Because
doesn't make any sense.
no one's jumping ahead of you to take a quarterback, right?
Right.
If it's with Arizona,
What do you
then
think
you
that-
have to keep it quiet because then someone can jump up in front of you to
What do you
New
think the
England.
handshake deal is, Kyle?
I'm sure it's 11, 23, a first rounder next year, and then maybe a third rounder or a player.
That's way too much.
I think so too, but I was listening on the radio today, and they were talking 11, 23, a first rounder next year, and a player.
That's silly talk.
Well,
There's nothing that's like that's ever been done. That's 8 spots.
DJ Moore last year, Panthers, trading up to pick 1.
Yeah, how'd that work
From
out
9.
for him?
What else did they give
I'm
up?
saying it has been done.
They should be drafting Caleb Williams right now, correct?
And DJ Moore.
No, I think it was 2.
Yeah, but
Right, they
Let's
should be
look it
drafting
up.
Caleb
Someone-
Williams right
let
now.
me- I'll get on the horn here, but they did not give up 3 firsts and DJ Moore. I can confirm that without research.
So, what are your thoughts on trading up to just pick 4 or 5 in general? Or do you guys want to stay put at 11 and 23?
What do you think, Brad?
I think if Drake May is gone, I don't think you trade up to 4. If you can't get to 3, I don't think you trade up to 4 to get Drake May. I think that I think there's 3 probably clear-cut guys ahead of J.J. McCarthy. I think there's probably and I don't know this. I think there's a gap there. And I don't know if he's worth giving up 2 first-rounders to get him.
I personally think J.J. McCarthy's a young man's Vinny Testaverde. Take it for what it's worth.
I think there's no way Arizona is moving.
Yeah,
I think he can get New England to move, and I think he could probably get the Chargers to move.
They want Starvin Marvin. You think?
Yeah, they're not going to pass on him.
Right, exactly.
So I kind of, part of me thinks that when the Vikings did this trade for 11 and 23, they thought that that was going to be enough to get up to 3 or 4. And maybe they were talking to New England, and then New England realized these other teams are not moving, and they're going to be asking way more, and now New England's asking more than what they maybe originally were asking.
Sure.
Yeah, I just don't see why the Vikings just randomly trade for pick 23 out of nowhere in the middle of the offseason, unless they're trading up. So,
Can we back up just a second here about the Panthers trade up? So last year the Panthers traded up 8 spots from 8 all the way to number 1. Now that's different than trading to number 3, because number 1 you get your pick of the very best. You get the best guy. 3, you're getting maybe the third best guy. The Panthers gave up DJ Moore, number 9, a late second round pick, a 2024 first.
Which is the number 1 overall pick.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
But they didn't know that last year.
Well,
Right.
you don't say.
And a 2025 second round pick.
Wow.
So 2 firsts
So-
and 2 seconds.
They gave up
And a player.
And
a star wide receiver.
wow. That's impressive.
so the Vikings should be able to do the same if they gave up 23
11.
and 11
Injured.
and a second round,
But we don't have a second this
Or-
year or
or a
next year.
third.
but they gave a 2025, so that was like pick 2 years down the road.
So, how about is Caleb Williams like head and shoulders above everybody else or not? What do you guys think?
I mean, if you listen to everybody, nobody knows shit, but everybody says he is. But he didn't win in college. They were garbage last year.
Right.
2 years ago, so I don't watch a lot of Saturday afternoon football because I'm usually out on the ranch
Yeah.
throwing bales. But
Good one.
I settle in about 7:30 with a Jack and Coke and turn on college football, and usually you're getting Pac-12 games at that time, West Coast
Oh,
games. So
yeah,
I see
for
a
sure.
lot of West Coast teams.
Talk about after dark.
And the boys and I would sit down, we'd watch Caleb Williams when he was on, and he looked absolute number 1 pick, no doubt, 2 years ago. The best player I've ever seen, looked just like Patrick Mahomes. This year we turned it back on, and the boys didn't think it was the same guy. This guy sucks, Dad. He's dog water. When we watched the first game, this isn't the same guy. I said, it is. It's him. And we kept watching game after game after game, and it never really got better. It just kind of looked like he didn't care too much.
And it's, I mean, is he kind of a prima donna, or is it just maybe it was the scheme? But didn't he go there from this? Isn't it the same coach?
It is the same coach.
Not as many weapons.
Yeah, the issue is people think he had a bad offensive line. However, he had the most average time to throw out of anybody in the top 18 quarterbacks. And he also had the most turnover-worthy plays out of the top 10 by a long shot. So he tries to do too much, and that kind of bites him in the ending.
But we can say the same thing about Drake May, right? Wasn't his 2022 way better than his 2023 tape?
Yeah, but I mean, this team is terrible.
That's
He put
Caleb Williams
nobody.
looked like absolute. If he would have came out last year, he would have been the number 1 pick. He was that good.
How good is Jaden Daniels going to be, boys?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering.
He is
He's an
suspect.
athlete playing
He's
Who's your
amazing,
NFL comp
actually.
to him?
Teddy Bridgewater on steroids.
Oh,
Watch him run. Watch him throw. He throws
RG3.
He throws ducks.
So
he can't
in-
throw a spiral. Watch his passes. None of them are spirals. They're wobbly lob passes.
He's
I
accurate,
heard the ball
though.
doesn't spiral down in Louisiana.
It might not.
Too much
It might
humidity.
spiral backwards.
We're getting off topic here.
Oh, I thought that was a great topic.
I mean,
What's your NFL comp for him?
For who?
Jaden Daniels.
do you know what that is?
Kyler Murray?
1,200 yards rushing last year. 40 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Didn't he have that one game he rushed for 300 yards and threw for 300 or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the best receivers. He's got stud receivers. He's always got top talent. But he looks like a little bit better Teddy Bridgewater. But
Before he broke his leg, then?
before he broke his leg.
Yeah.
If you put up some highlights of him, you're going to see that ball just wobbling on every pass. Sometimes it looks like it's coming end over end like a punt. It gets there, but it looks pretty ugly. So the arm isn't as good as I think other people think it is.
All right, we're gonna go to some questions here. Early round targets. You guys like the Vikings to target?
At 11?
Who's starting?
We're gonna go with Brandon because he's got all those names over there.
I don't know.
He's got a couple sticky notes.
You got to define your question a little bit better.
Rounds 1 through 3.
Are we assuming
day
there's no
1, day 2,
trades?
guys.
Other than quarterback, like, are we?
We're somewhere at 11 and 23.
Just players you like. Doesn't just players you
All right,
want.
so I'm
the
a big
Vikings
Nate
pick.
Wiggins guy, so I would stay at 11. I would take Nate Wiggins if I could. And then I'd probably come back around at 23 with maybe Byron Murphy.
Who's playing quarterback next year?
We
Sam
would probably roll with
Dan
see
Sarnold.
if you let me get to it here.
Yeah, okay.
If you let me get to it. We got to get some corner help. Nate Wiggins is stud
Why do we keep drafting corners in the first round every freaking year?
because we can't get them right.
That's so
We
frustrating.
got
But
one.
we got
that's
we got a
Louisiana
new
State
we got a
guy.
new regime now and a new D coordinator, and maybe we're gonna get it right. Nate Wiggins is the best corner in this draft.
Bold.
At 11, if we stay at 11,
You get him at
Taking Nate at
23.
11,
oh,
and I think Byron Murphy will be there at 23. But if you
It'll
don't,
be the other way around.
then you could flip it.
Yeah, it'd
Okay.
be the other way. I think.
I'm gonna.
Now here's where it gets tough because we got to have a quarterback next year. Yeah, it's going to be Darnold for the first little while. No
I
matter
bet we
what.
all
No matter
know
what,
where,
it's
I
gonna
bet we
be
all
Darnold.
know where you're going here.
But what I'm doing then is I'm getting rid of our see. There's a lot to unpack here. They made a mistake by trading up to 23 when they did, but I think you're going to have to give up some capital next year to move up into the end of the second round and get Spencer Rattler for
Not the Rattler.
get the Rattler.
Getting
for
the
quarterback.
Rattler.
My number 2 quarterback in the draft.
Whoa.
Why do you
Number
like
2
him so
guy.
much?
Have you watched him? If you put white jerseys on all these guys and you just watched them and they didn't tell you who's who and whose name, what team they played for, and you just watched these guys play and you just watched highlight videos,
How about his personality? We gonna talk
I
about
don't know
that,
anything
or-
about his personality. We could talk about that Caleb Williams' personality too.
Fair enough.
It's not like I like him either, but
I don't draft any of these guys because of their personality,
What do you draft him for?
talent,
Talent.
potential.
19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year for Spencer Rattler.
He didn't have anybody around him, did he?
He's got
Xavier Leggett, actually. He's going to be a second-round wide receiver.
He's got great mobility. He throws great on the run. He's got an awesome deep ball. The ball snaps coming out of his arm. One of the better arms in the draft. I'd have no idea why he's being overlooked the way he is. His throwing motion is beautiful. It's pure. You look at Drake May. If he doesn't have a good offensive line, he's going to be getting stripped all the time. He drops the ball really low. The ends are going to swat that ball out all the time.
The one
Michael
issue-
Penix has the ugliest throwing motion I've ever seen, and people think
He's a
he's going to
lefty,
be
but,
a
yeah.
He's going to be the best quarterback in this draft.
maybe a late first rounder.
So,
Huh?
the issue I have with Spencer Rattler is KOC looks for decision-making. He noted that. And Rattler's probably one of the worst decision-makers in the draft, in my personal opinion. You just turnover-worthy plays. You don't like to see that. And if you're a poor decision-maker, you're not going to be able to survive in the NFL.
He might have been a little bit of a Superman. You know, he didn't have a lot to work with, so he was maybe trying to make some plays that weren't there. Maybe Carson Wentz-esque, but the kid's got tons of talent, and if KOC's any coach at all, he should have no problem coaching a kid up that can put the ball on the money. He can move and get out of the pocket. We know with our offensive line, you're going to have to move. I want somebody that's not just standing in the pocket.
Right. If we stay at 11, Quinyon Mitchell cornerback, Toledo, Ohio. Then to go a little old school here, we're going to take Jackson Powers Johnson, interior offensive lineman from Oregon, at 23.
Wow. That is a pick.
That'd be a hell of a pick. We need. Have you watched our right guard and left guard before?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Kyle.
So I think if we do stay at 11 and 23, at 11, so I'm either going Byron Murphy, or I don't know if you guys have watched J.C. Latham from Alabama. He's a
You're going guard too.
he's a tackle, but I think move him into guard right away, and then when O'Neal, I'm assuming, can we pay Darrisaw and O'Neal?
I'm gonna have to.
I'm assuming at some point we can move him out to
Tackle.
right tackle. 23. I like Terry and Arnold.
Oof.
He seems a little bit smaller, but as a cornerback, I think the number one thing you need is change of direction and be able to close when the ball's in the air. I feel like he is elite.
Okay.
And a willing tackler,
5
right?
interceptions.
Nate, like at corner, you don't have to be a good tackler. You just have to be average and willing to tackle. I don't think Nate Wiggins will tackle is the problem.
He might not tackle. He might not tackle like some of the other guys, but he's going to cover guys. I'm so sick of watching guys.
I have seen. Have you seen him chase down?
He chases guys down.
He is so fast.
He's so fast.
Wiggins?
Oh, he's
Is
close.
it related to Andrew?
But there's something about Terry and Arnold where he's sticky. He's right on the receiver, and the receiver has no separation from what I've seen.
Terry Arnold looks like a solid guy to me, someone that you can probably count on. That's probably not going to be Pro Bowl caliber, where Nate Wiggins has the it factor where this guy's going to be locked down, shut down.
But
a lot of interceptions.
I still think the number one need is defensive line.
Agreed.
I mean, all over the defense. We don't. Who's the guy? We don't have the guy. We don't have one player who you're like that's the guy anywhere on any level.
True.
On this defense.
All three of them per se.
So I wouldn't even. I mean, I haven't done a whole lot of homework on this Latu guy.
Oh, don't. It's not worth it.
And part of me also says Byron Murphy at 11.
That's high.
And Jared Verse at 23.
Ooh, I like Jared Verse. He's rangy.
I don't think he's like a 15 sack guy.
He's solid.
But he's solid.
Play the run well. Yeah.
Because we got a bunch of just random guys right now.
That's what happens when you miss the entire 22
I don't know
draft.
what to think about this. I haven't seen enough on this Grenard, this guy we signed. But you got Van Ginkel, you got Jerry Tillery.
Who
else did we sign? We signed a bunch of just
TCU.
We signed a bunch of average players. We don't have any like solid playmaker. You can count 3rd and 8. Who's going to get to the quarterback without bringing the house?
Like last year,
Right?
had to bring the house every third down.
So I think you got to go. I think you have to go defensive line hard if you're not trading everything away for the quarterback.
which would be a huge mistake. Trade
But
everything
they
away.
also, one other thing is, we got Darnold, I feel like he's going to keep us in games. He's going to be average.
Serviceable.
We're going to end up 8-8, or 8-9, or 9-8.
With the 19th overall.
Not with the defense, we're not.
And then what are we going to do next year?
Same thing over and over.
So at some point, you either got to go all in, or you're either all in or all out. And I feel like this, if you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said stay right where we're at, 11 and 23. But the more I think about it, the more you got to just go up and take a shot.
See, you just can't get swooned over all this postseason quarterback hype. It happens every year.
Scuttlebutt.
If you go back to December,
McCarthy's hyped up.
If you go, and Drake May too.
Drake
if you go
May
back to December,
Drake May's not.
and you listen to how everyone's feeling in December, and then you give them 3 months to overanalyze these guys and think they're just.
The cat's meow.
Can I swear on this podcast?
Sure.
If you go back to December and listen to who guys are talking about, those are the guys that's usually the truth. This stuff after the draft where we look at their RAS and we look at their combine numbers, that's all a bunch of BS. You just flip the tape on and see who can play. And I think if you convince yourself that you listen to all the hype that one of these guys like McCarthy or Drake May, Jaden Daniels, if you think those guys are worth trading 3 first-round picks plus more, you're all in. You screw it up and it's over.
But I think that's what this regime is going to do. I think they have to go all in and
Another thing
live and die by the sword.
that I think is, I kind of wish we would have signed Wentz instead of
Agreed.
Darnold. Then you're either like, you know how he plays. He's either
Yep.
boom or bust. Either you're
winning,
playing great and
you're
you're
going to the
going deep
playoffs.
into the playoffs, or you're not. Maybe you're
Yep.
not. Maybe you're picking 5 next year.
Absolutely.
Right.
He's got the
You're not-
arm to get it to JJ.
you're not picking
He's got
13
the
and 14.
mobility.
Right.
Absolutely. That would have been the best choice.
For $3 million compared to $10 million,
Right.
and then maybe you can sign Reisner or something because he's still out on the street. Who's going to play guard for us?
JC Latham, 23 on your mock.
Well, yeah.
I'd say actually I would agree that 23 was kind of a mistake to get because, I mean, because now you have no second round pick, no third round pick, so you can't.
So we
If
have
you're-
2 fourths and 2 fifths.
I think we have 3 fourths actually.
And we gave up a second next year to do this too.
I think we
The issue is
2/4, I think.
2/4. Yeah.
that we don't have a higher pick to draft a D lineman, so that's kind of the concern. I've heard like rumors saying that they're trying to keep 23, and they're still trying to trade up somehow. So they probably get rid of 3 first rounders back to back years, and keep 23. But I don't know if teams would want to do that.
That'd be a very stupid trade.
So
They jumped the gun. I don't know why they did it. I think maybe they thought, I'm putting my Quasi hat on. I'm going to take off my sweet Vikings hat and put my Quasi hat on. I think he thought he was outsmarting people. He got this 23, and I think he thought he was going to be able to flip it and move. And it didn't work. And now I think he's scrambling. They're putting out a bunch of steam about the Texans initiated the trade, which could be because they were getting that thing in the works for Diggs. But and then now they want to keep 23 like they wanted the 23 for some reason all along. I think they're realizing that people are playing them a little bit. They tipped their hand, and now they're screwed. And we gave up, what was it, pick 42 this year, and say it's a top 10 pick next year, 42 again. We gave up pick 42 and pick 42 to move up to 23.
And I think it also comes down to, like, I feel like this year, like, top 10 talent, like these receivers, like there's a lot of these teams that aren't going to want to move back if they're in the top 10 looking for a receiver. The Bears, the Giants. It's going to take a lot for
The
them
Giants
to
going
move,
to take a QB.
to move back, and because all these good receivers are there for them.
So speaking of that, it's a great time to trade JJ.
What could you
There's
get?
a plethora of awesome wide receivers in this
True.
draft.
What could you
You
get
can
for
get
him?
one in the late first round. That would be very, very good.
What if you
get
go-
2 of them?
if you go Justin Jefferson for like the 3rd pick in the draft,
Yeah.
and then you take your quarterback, then at 11 you could take a Dunze, then 23 you take D lineman.
I wouldn't touch his Dunze, but there are some other ones
He
I
is
like.
so good.
Yeah, there's some other ones I like there. I'd take
Why don't you
Neighbors,
like
but
him?
he'll be gone. Huh?
Well, no, they could do that.
I've watched a lot of
Yeah.
Pac-12 games.
And he dominated
He
every
does
single
fine.
game. It's
He never
amazing.
dominates a game. You never come away from the game before the draft talk. I never came away from the game thinking, "Holy, we got to get."
Were you
this wide
watching the
receiver."
game?
I watched them, every one of them. You
He
didn't.
dominated every single game he played
Which
last
one?
year.
He had 1,600 yards receiving,
Yeah.
so he averaged
How many
over
catches?
100 yards a game,
So catching the ball and getting yards
15
is great.
total touchdowns.
I want an athlete. I want talent. Just Adam Thielen can get. I mean, Thielen's a good receiver, but if you're open and you catch the ball,
Did you know he was undrafted out of Mankato?
I heard that. So I don't put too much stock into that. I watched I don't know, not all of them, but I watched a lot of his games, and I never came away. He's a good receiver, but I never came away thinking, "Oh, we gotta put that guy on the list of guys to get." Not once.
He averages over 100 yards and a touchdown every game, 92 catches in the year. He doesn't dominate, I guess, but he's got great route running. That's the one thing.
No, I would. I like. There's a South Carolina wide receiver I really like. His name's blanking here for me.
Xavier.
Yeah,
and
Tulaget to Quet. Dude's an animal, thick boy, got tons of speed, really good hands, makes incredible catches. picked up on him when I was watching my Spencer Rattler highlights because everyone told me Rattler had no help, but that kid can play. You could get him in the second round probably. Who's another guy I really like? Wide receivers. Let me pull out my board here and see if I can pick one off. Wide receivers. Oh, Keenan Coleman. Great. Real good thick boy.
No one's talking about him.
Second round kind of guy. Maybe you take 2 shots. Maybe you take too legit to quit, and Keenan Coleman with a couple of second rounders or something. And hedge your bets. Get rid of JJ, get your quarterback, get a receiver, get 2 receivers actually, and you still have 23 maybe to play with.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another guy. Or let's go. We can keep going.
I'd prefer Leggett over Coleman, but
Me too.
he's sub 4.4 and he's what?
He's thick.
6'1", 220.
He's thick.
6'1",
1,200
220,
yards.
runs a
He
sub
looks
4.4.
like a short tight end, and he blows guys out of the water when he gets
Holy
the ball on the
smokes.
field. He's gone.
He's seen that. Yeah, I've seen that highlight.
He's just gone. And he is huge, and he catches everything.
All right.
That's the kind of talent I like to see on tape. Watching
Your eyes
Odunze
told you
catching
that.
some sideline catches and whatever. That's nice. I want to see a guy that jumps off the tape that this guy could be the next Randy Moss kind of guy.
All right. Now we're gonna change to a different position. How about, even though we just got Aaron Jones, how about running back? 4th round, 5th round. Do we consider going running back? Because Aaron Jones on like a 1-year deal. Got Ty Chandler. Then you don't really have anybody after that, really.
So I got to be honest, I haven't scouted the backs yet. That's next week's plan. But I'll throw a name out there. Something to chew on in like the 4th round maybe would be the Sion Baki. Safety for Utah. Kyle, I remember I texted you back during the season, must have been October. I said, you got to turn this game on and watch this kid. He's something else. Pretty good safety.
Is
But
that where you're talking running back?
Oh, he
plays
plays
both
both.
sides.
That's the guy that plays
He's
both.
unbelievable. But then they started putting him in at running back, and I saw the same number, and this guy was cutting it up, and I'm like, this can't be that same guy that was just playing safety, knocking these guys out. And sure as hell it was. It's the same
Wow.
dude. And he is a hell of a running back. He catches the ball. He blocks. I think he'd be an awesome 3rd down guy. Be a great late round guy. Maybe he turns into a safety. Maybe he plays running back. He'll play special teams for sure. That'd be a little sleeper 4th, 5th round running back potentially.
Yeah.
I like Trey Benson from Florida State, but I think he'll be gone before.
Yeah.
He might be there in the 4th round, but
My favorite player is Jalen Wright. Pretty obvious. He's just explosive. 4.38 40. He averaged over 7 yards per carry. 4.3 yards after contact. I think he's good. He doesn't have a lot of touchdowns, but he can, he's kind of an everything back in a way. Maybe not necessarily towards the goal line, but he can catch the ball. Extremely explosive, and you want those big plays. But speaking of goal line, Braylon Allen, 6'1", 235, and explosive in a way. Doesn't have the top end speed, but he's got some acceleration. 980 yards, 12 touchdowns. He's 20 years old as well. One of the youngest players in the draft. And he'll be there in the 4th round, I'm sure.
Sounds pretty beefy.
Beefy.
but we need some commitment to running the ball too. I don't. Maybe that was because we didn't have the guys to do it.
I think
I don't think we have the coach to do it. So
Braylon Allen mixed with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, receiving guy, kind of your, 1st and 10 back. And you got Braylon Allen for those, 3rd and shorts or just in the red zone.
I don't
Pretty
like
good
tipping your hand that
complementation.
way, though. I don't like having a short yardage guy.
He
And
can catch the ball.
all right, but if you're bringing him in on short distances and tipping your hand over time, you got to have a guy that can pound it, that's got breakaway speed, that can catch. Hard to find, but if you're going to bring in this big Leroy Horde kind of dude and try to pound it on short yards, just like we did with Madison, they're just going to shut it. They're just going to shut it down.
Speaking of Madison, did he ever sign anywhere?
I think he did, yeah.
The Raiders.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch. We're going to change topics here a little bit. Vikings game day rituals. You guys have any specific rituals?
Oh, Oh,
A little different combo going.
Well, for me, I gotta be watching it at home. Sometimes people want to go to the bar or Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever to watch the game, and I just can't do it. I gotta be right in front of my TV. Also need a full can of Skol. Lots of stress, high stress situation, so go through a lot of that too. But that's basically my ritual.
Well, I'm a man of God first, so I like to get to church on Sunday when we're here first. And our priest goes way too long, so usually we're scrambling to get home. I'm lucky if I make kickoff, but then I usually settle in downstairs and no drinking during the game. I take it pretty serious. I take notes once in a while. I make sure I let my feelings be known to Brad and Pissy and Kyle from time to time when I see KOC making mistakes out there. And who's our defensive coordinator again?
Flores.
Oh, when I see him out there sending the house, and he can't decide if he wants to play coverage or blitz the house. It's a crapshoot and it's ugly. But yeah, get to church, get home as fast as I can, and then settle in. Usually all by myself. I don't want no distractions. Pull out the phone and send some group texts along the way.
yeah, I typically like to stay home and watch the game as well. I'll pop a top and might be with Levi. I might be sitting crying and pouting by myself. I will have a beer or two.
A couple more questions. Favorite Vikings players of all time?
Oh.
I'll start it off. Number one for me is Chris Carter. My second is Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, Adrian's going to be my number one for sure.
I loved Moss, but there was the prima donna stuff, and it kind of knocks him down the list a little bit more. I'm trying to think who else is in there.
One of my favorites.
Kevin Williams, Pat Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remember when we had those two? Our D-line was, no one could run on us. It was.
Yeah, good point.
I was an E.J. Henderson guy. I liked E.J. a lot. But I'd say Percy Harvin was probably
That's a good one.
my number two. Adrian's one, Percy Harvin's number two.
That's someone that
Pissed it down.
I don't know if I've ever seen someone quite like that.
Percy?
Yeah, how explosive he was, and he could run through people, run around them. He was fast.
His balance was unbelievable.
Kick return. I don't know what happened to him, but
Head case.
Too much weed.
That's why you don't draft these guys based on personality.
I think Johnny Randall probably for me was like right up there. I think that he was just a tough-nosed dude that looked like he'd have just kicked ass, but he like have a good time too. He loved it. He was a passionate player, and obviously Adrian Peterson's right up there too. And it kind of, Teddy Bridgewater, I had his jersey. That was kind of a big moment for me. It wasn't a true one, though, and I actually did have a Percy Harvin jersey, too. That one was fake as well. It was probably from China, but yeah, Percy was pretty crazy.
Percy was one of the top
special
3
cat.
or 4 talented dudes that we've ever had on the team, for sure.
And everybody gives Spielman crap, but
He hit
look at
some home runs.
look at some of the players he drafted.
He hit some absolute home runs.
Yeah.
Peter, a lot of other
Dalvin
than
Cook?
Vikings fans would probably laugh when he said Percy Harvin was a home run, but he was absolutely a home run. He just lasted the year or two. But, yeah.
Dalvin?
Peterson, Harvin, Dalvin Cook, Jefferson. I feel like he was someone he was always going to draft the best player.
Yeah.
The highest ceiling.
And it always seemed like we were going, like in the first round, we were drafting like skilled position. We weren't spending our picks on.
We're usually drafting in the
Linemen.
teens or the 20s.
Like I feel like he thought, he could get the bigger guys later on in the round, take the most talented players, and he did miss a lot of picks too, but he hit some home runs for sure.
Took a lot of picks too, trading back and making a lot of selections, worthless ones.
I haven't watched as long, but
Oh, I want to take one more. One of my favorite Vikings. Everson Griffin was one of my favorite Vikings too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
just a couple. Dalvin Cook, loved watching him that one year, I mean, essentially. And then Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Xavier Rhodes closed that one year, and then Jaron Hall, that one drive for the Falcons. I mean, I thought we had something there, but
Yeah, we
the
didn't.
single drive against the Falcons when he got that concussion was special.
I'm not ready to give up on him 100% yet. I mean,
Throw the towel in. Time to move.
He lost his confidence, so he's pretty much gone. Last question. What's your favorite time for a Vikings game to be on? We're talking noon, 3, Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night. Or Saturday.
for me, it's noon.
Yeah, I would say.
Seems like they
Sunday night.
play the best. They always play the best at noon too. If it's a 3 o'clock game or night game, they for some reason they just don't seem to be the same team. I don't know what it is.
And if they get their shit pushed in at noon, by the end of the night, I can finally sleep.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a Thursday, Sunday, or Monday night game, I can't sleep till 2, 3 in the morning.
I agree with the noon game, but I tell you, and it was probably because we had such a great experience with the Monday night game against the 49ers. That was so much fun. So being there live. But we obviously had a lot of fun going to noon games too.
You were at JP.
Yeah, we were hanging out with JP, Levi, and I.
JP Toronto.
That was a fun game though.
All right, I'll have one more question then, just on topic. Experiences at the Vikings games. Any experiences you guys want to share?
I learned my lesson not to leave the games early.
Oh, that's right.
We left before Peterson set the record.
Yeah,
We left before Favre threw that touchdown pass against the 49ers to win the game.
yeah.
We stayed for the Minneapolis Miracle, but we almost stood up and
Yeah.
left.
Oh, you guys were at that
Something
one?
told
Yeah.
me to. My kids were like, "Let's go." They were crying. I looked at Kyle and said, "Let's get out of here." He said, "No, let's stay." So we stayed. Thank God, because that was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was by far that game was by far the most fun. The funnest game I've ever been to, no doubt.
Some of my favorite experiences were preseason games because you don't get so nervous. You party pretty hard. You just sit back without a care in the world. That's kind of nice once in a while.
Just part of it's probably because it was most recent, but the Monday night game against the 49ers, we had Levi, and that was a blast. But the other one that pops in my head is the game against the Packers when Crosby missed the 52-yard field goal we were at, and we were just hollering out the window. We left the stadium and
Go Pack,
go
go.
home pack.
Yeah.
That was a blast. That was cool.
That was.
Levi, how about you?
Yeah, there's only a few I've been to, so the 49ers game, obviously. I mean,
That was fun.
it was really cool seeing Jordan Addison steal the ball out of the corner's hands before halftime. That was pretty wild. Got the
Yeah,
crowd going.
it's like nobody knew what happened. All of a sudden, he
Yeah.
kept running. That was fun.
Well, I got a question.
Ooh.
Oh,
I wanted to go a little deeper into some of these quarterbacks, but who are some of your sleepers this year?
Specifically a quarterback?
No, any position.
Okay.
I got a mid-round quarterback, Jordan Travis
Oh,
from
yeah.
Florida State.
oh, shoot! I thought you were going somewhere else.
No, I don't know. There's something about him. He doesn't have a huge arm, but he's able to move around.
where will he be? Will he be there like 5 or 6,
Oh.
5th or 6th round,
I
or
think-
7th?
I
or-
think
Because of
he,
that injury.
he just got had an
Yeah.
injury. I think he'll be there in the 5th round. He's not flashy by any means, but
Let's stay on quarterback for just a moment. We'll come back to the sleepers real quick. But has anyone been paying attention to Keaton Slovis at all?
yes, I have. BYU.
So we watched a lot of Pac-12 and a couple years ago when he was throwing the ball. I thought this kid's unbelievable. I wrote him down as a kid. We got to get when he comes out. Transferred around a little bit. Hasn't been quite as good, but he reads the defense really well. If you watch him play, he's always going off his first read, looking for the second and third reads and hitting guys. He's got a good arm. He's really mobile. He'd be a nice one later rounds. Who's my other guy here? Devin Leary. You got any insight on him?
I like him a lot, actually.
I don't think he's much different than when I watched the tape, like a Drake May. He reminds me a little bit of him. Joe Milton. He came in that Tennessee game.
What is he, about 28?
He came in that
24.
Tennessee game playing backup and lit it up. I think he threw like 3 touchdowns. This is all off the top of my head. This is a couple years ago. And I'm like, all right, got to put him on the list. This guy's going to be unbelievable. Fell off. Huge arm. He moves. He'd be an interesting late-round quarterback. And then Austin Reed from Western Kentucky. Maybe the ugliest throwing form I've ever seen. But he can throw the ball and put it in the breadbasket. He's my number 10 quarterback. I just want to make sure I list this off so we can listen to this here in 3 years and I can say, see, I was right. But the way I have the quarterbacks ranked right now, Williams has fallen. I got him number 1, but man, there's a lot to take into consideration there. I'm going to put him number 1. Spencer Rattler's my second quarterback overall. He put the white jerseys on all these guys and watch him play a game. You might say he's the best quarterback of the bunch. Because somebody's got to be second. I'm going to put Drake May there. I'm really worried about how low he cocks the ball back. He's going to get stripped a lot if he doesn't fix that. I think I got him 3. Daniels, Teddy Bridgewater on steroids. I think number 4. I just can't get over the ducks he throws, but I see some talent there. I got Bo Nix at 5. I think maybe he could be one of the best quarterbacks here. McCarthy at 6, even though I don't like him at all. And then I got Devin Leary and Keaton Slovis kind of tied at 7th. I can't decide who to give the nose to. I'd probably go Slovis from the experience and from how he reads the defense. And then I got Joe Milton. I put an asterisk by him. He could be the worst quarterback in the draft, but he could be the best. He's got incredible arm talent. He'd be a fun guy to work with. And then I got this Austin Reed cat, number 10. Watch out for Austin Reed. He might make a name for himself.
Okay, there's one thing I would say with Keaton Slovis is freshman year, I completely agree.
Because didn't he play
amazing.
at USC, right?
Yeah, it was amazing. And then got benched. Went to
Caleb
Pitt,
Williams.
Went to Pitt, got benched again. And then went to BYU, kind of a rocky year. But freshman year, I mean, he was amazing. But
If you put his tape on, you watch him, he goes first read, second read, third read, stands in the pocket the whole time. He's a gamer. I think he's going to be a player.
I got 2 other guys, not quarterbacks.
Are we going back to sleepers?
Sorry to get off.
Back to sleepers. We're done with the quarterbacks.
We're not talking. I got a couple guys that are intriguing to me. I should say 3 guys. What do you guys think about Cooper DeJean?
he's a player.
Yeah.
Can play cornerback, safety.
History tells me he's not going to work out at corner, but but maybe safety, maybe slot corner.
He did run a 4.43 though, faster than.
Maybe he's going to break the mold, but I wouldn't take him in the first round.
All right, this next guy I love, but I think he's too undersized, and I think he might just be a third down specialist. Chop Robinson.
Okay, he's bendy. Tell me what you know about him.
Chop
Bobby.
Robinson.
I like him
Smaller,
a lot.
but he's
Speed
also
around the edge.
4.43, I believe. So
And he can bend. Remember watching Von Miller back in the day, how he can just bend underneath, bend around the tackles?
I'm afraid my fear with him is he a guy you can leave out there all the time, or
That's
is
what I
he
said.
a
Yeah, he
guy
might
you
just be
got
a
to just
third.
put in for third down?
Can you draft someone in the top 20, 25 that is just possibly just a third round specialist?
So I'm going to play off of what you just laid out there, and I'm going to go Mocha Kamara. The dude is going to be the steal of the draft. do yourself a favor, spend 5 minutes watching some of his highlights. I have no idea how he is not talked about as a first rounder. The dude is unbelievable. He's got a crazy motor. He's strong. He's fast. He's got some moves like some of these other guys. Who were we talking about earlier? Jared Verse. He doesn't have any moves.
Latu.
Latu is he's too tall. And Latu reminds me of that Andre Carter guy we got undrafted or whatever. A little bit heavier than that guy, but he looks the same. He looks awkward. Just doesn't look like it's
Yeah,
gonna
but
work.
look at his production though.
I don't
It's
care
crazy.
about production. I'm looking at who's an athlete here. Who's an athlete here? Who jumps off the tape like, oh my gosh, that kid can do things other people can't. He is not one of those guys. But Mo Camara, absolutely one of those dudes.
So, in a way, I would agree. However, Chop Robinson's actually taller and bigger than Mo Camara, so I wouldn't be as worried if you could, keep Chop Robinson out there on, first, second down, compared to Kamari's 6'1", 248, Robinson's 6'3", 254.
Remember not to worry about all the numbers on the computer screen. You got to watch the tape. You got to see who can stand up against the run, who's stout against the run. I would say Kamara's much more stout against the run. Robinson maybe a little quicker around the edge, but I don't know if he can play 3 downs.
Got any sleepers?
No.
I'll throw one more out. This guy's not really a sleeper, but a guy that I really like a lot, Edrin Cooper.
Linebacker.
Oh man, that dude can get around the field. He'd be an interesting pick. Like we don't have a second rounder, but if it was like top of the second round, if he lasts that long, he's an athlete. He'd be a hell of a linebacker.
I think we need to get something out of either Booth, Scene, or Asamoah. I know Asamoah was hurt last year.
I don't think you're going to get anything on any of them.
Scene, I'm going to give him one more chance. I think Booth
Booth was my
has
sleeper
already
a couple
kinda
years ago.
He's already kind of showed us that I don't think he's the guy.
I
but
thought he was going to be the best cornerback in that draft, but he's really laying an egg. And I don't know if it's scheme or just not getting opportunity or what, but
one
maybe he doesn't.
potentially.
Maybe it's personality.
one of those 3 guys, we got to get something out of.
Well, we're not going to get anything out of any of
just
them,
a
so
waste.
you got to just count them as cut. Cut them.
All right. That's going to be where we end it off, because we got a supper to attend to here
We
soon.
got a party to attend.
So, it's been fun, and we'll catch you guys later.
Maybe we'll do another maybe Wednesday night call-in episode, or
There we go.
maybe Saturday after the draft.
Saturday after the
Yeah,
draft.
I think
Let's
it
do
should be post-draft reaction.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Vegas odds might change though. In the next little...
All right. Well, just make sure you keep it between the ditches, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode of Oh For Heaven's Sake.
Bye for now.